What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, this I already talked about this in one of my previous episodes of Joe Winko Talk, but I just wanted to discuss it again because I don't think I really got in depth enough with my last episode of Joe Winko Talk I recorded about this. This is going to be a very gloomy episode of Joe Winko Talk, and it's going to be very personal also. This is about a hard time I was going through in my life, and this happened a while ago. It was back in summer of year 2015. This episode of Joe Winko Talk is going to be about the time I almost ran away to Arkansas. And before I say anything, I just want to say that I'm not posting this to get sympathy at all. Because that's not really going to do me any good, really. I just wanted to talk about this again so you guys all understand how my autism mind works and what goes on inside my head and everything. And it's a bit warped, I understand, but yeah. And also, just in case you guys might find this interesting as well, I guess. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. Now, I have to say this. Now, I posted this message on my fan page, on my Facebook fan page earlier. Here's what I said, quote unquote. Okay, so this is what I typed on my Facebook fan page. Just want to let everyone know there is a huge difference between someone being suicidal compared to someone who's actually instead being thrown out on the streets to die, me, in parentheses, and being left for dead. Especially if that same someone is doing everything they can to stop that from happening in the first place. Me. Sorry for the gloomy post, but just making this clear to everyone. So I remember when I first talked about this in my previous episode of Joe Winko Talk I did about the time I tried running away to Arkansas, one person commented on the video and typed in, Joe, if you're ever feeling like fuck life and that you feel like fuck life and that you want to die, please just email me instead, because that's not the way you should be thinking. That's not what they said, quote unquote, but that's what they said. That's what they typed in the comment, roughly. Not quote unquote, but that's the point they were trying to make. People are completely misunderstanding all of this. Believe it or not, I actually do not want to die at all, and I'm trying to prevent that. And it's really insulting when people on YouTube who are watching my videos, like one person, for example, commented on my 2017 episode of Joe Winko Talk, my first episode of Joe Winko Talk from 2017, and they were saying, oh, Joe, you shouldn't kill yourself at all. That's not what I was talking about in that video. The reason why I thought I was going to die this year is because I might end up homeless this year and might be out on the streets and have no way to get my insulin. That's the reason why I thought I was going to die this year. And if that ever happened, that would definitely not be my fault, because I'm doing everything I can to stop that from happening. And it's really insulting when people are saying that it would be my fault and saying that I want that to happen, because I definitely do not. Okay, has anyone watching my videos ever sat back? This is a serious question for all of you guys. Have you guys ever sat back and wondered, okay, why is Joe talking about all this gloomy stuff that went on in his life? Why is Joe talking about this personal stuff? Why is Joe talking about finding a father-son relationship with a guy who will share his home and life with him? And why is Joe making videos about himself running away and dying? Well, the reason why is because I'm trying to prevent that from happening. I don't want to be homeless, and it's pretty fucked up for people to think that I do want to be homeless and out on the streets dying, because I don't. You know, that's why I keep talking about it in my episodes of Joe Winko Talk. And you guys may be thinking, well, how does talking about it in an episode of Joe Winko Talk stop it from happening? Let me tell you that. All it takes is one person, one man, to watch my videos and think, hey, I like this guy, he's really cool. Oh no, he's gonna be homeless? Oh, I should contact him right away. Joe, you don't have to be homeless. Come live with me instead. You can make your videos for what's left of your life and be happy and everything. Bingo! Problem solved. Yeah, me and him would have to get along with each other, but yeah, quite a few of my problems would be solved. I wouldn't have to worry about being homeless and out on the streets dying of no insulin. And also, I am waiting to get approved for disability, but it's taking a long time. Anyhow, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this episode of Joe Winko Talk. I'm going to be talking about the time I almost ran away to Arkansas. And before I get to it, what happened was I was working a job that I could not stand at all. It was really stressful. It was a retail job. My adoptive mother made me keep it because she's such a controlling bitch, and I hated it. I was stressed out. I kept asking the boss to cut my hours down. They cut me down to 10 hours a week, and it was still too stressful for me to work through. And I can't hold a job. It's too stressful and it's too overwhelming for me. And I have disabilities. I have autism. I have type 1 diabetes, which can also be physically debilitating, actually, and affect my mood, too. And I also have ADHD. And all of those combined make it really stressful. And another thing that pisses me off is people say, oh, well, my sister or my brother has autism and ADHD and they made it through college fine and are doing fine in school. That's really a stupid conclusion to make. Just because your brother or sister did fine with autism and ADHD, they were able to grow up and make it fine. Because you don't know, autism and ADHD, they affect everyone differently. You don't know, one person may be able to work through it and go off fine with autism, ADHD, and type 1 diabetes, because they're forgetting I have that too. But one person, it might be too stressful for them and they can't do it. Then you're going to say, oh, well, load them up on medication, send them to therapy. There's only so far that goes. Medication really doesn't seem to have any effect on me, because I've been, throughout my whole entire life, I've been on countless medications, and none of them have ever had any effect on me, really. I mean, yeah, they work for a tad bit, but then they eventually wear off. Then they start causing other side effects that fuck me up even worse, really. But what was going on was my adoptive mom was making me keep this job that I hated. She knew I hated the job. She knew it was stressful. She knew it was overwhelming, but she was just being the controlling, colossal bitch she was and making me keep it. So, I started telling her that I was going to run away, and this was when I was 19 years old. This was back in summer of 2015, and I told her that she knew about this too. I was posting ads online. I was looking for truck drivers to run away with. But the thing was, if I would have ran away, I would have died, because if I would have ran away and left Wisconsin forever, oh yeah, forgot to mention, I hate Wisconsin too, and I do want to leave it forever. I hate the state, and I want to get out. If I ran away and left forever, I would be homeless, and then I'd have no way of getting my insulin, and then I would die, as you guys know. But the thing was that, so knowing that, you guys would probably say, oh, well, Joe, just quit the job then. The thing was that if I would have quit the job, my adoptive mother would have kicked me out anyway. And eventually I did end up quitting the job. And my adoptive mom, when she found out, she did kick me out. It was when we were on our road trip to Florida, while we were staying the night in Louisville, Kentucky. She said, well, you're not going to be sitting up in my house doing anything. Get out of here. And then I left. And eventually she called me back and told me to come back with them, but not until hours later, more than 12 hours later. But that's a whole nother story. I explained all of that in my necrophiliac episode of Joe Winko Talk, my necrophiliac story episode of Joe Winko Talk. If you want to hear everything that happened there, just click that video and watch it. I wasn't the necrophiliac, though. It was a guy who wanted to have sex with my dead body. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video. So I posted an ad online saying that I wanted to run away to Arkansas. I mean, I didn't say that I wanted to run away to Arkansas. I said that I wanted to run away. I didn't say where I wanted to go to, but I said that I was looking for truck drivers to run away, and that I wanted to run away from Wisconsin forever. And here's what happened. So I posted the ad online, and I posted I was looking for a truck driver to run away with, and I had these 3 pictures of me included. There's this picture, which I took at the park a couple months ago before running away. Let me show you guys that. There's that picture. And there was also this picture. This is the picture in my YouTube look back in 2014. I had that on the ad also. And there was this picture, which was taken in late 2014. Remember, this was all going on during summer of 2015. So I posted that ad on Craigslist and said that I was looking for a truck driver to run away with, that I hated being with my adoptive parents, and that I was 19 years old, an adult, and I was looking to run away. Because when you're an adult, you're allowed to leave and go off wherever you want to. They don't send people looking for you unless you committed a crime, but I obviously didn't. And I had my phone number on the ad too. And what ended up happening was, now this was back in June of 2015. I got a call from someone. They said that they saw my ad on Craigslist, and they said they'll help me run away. And his voice sounded like he sounded like the killer's voice from the Scream movies. That's exactly what the voice sounded like.
Tatum, just get in the car.
Hello, Sydney. Scary night, isn't it? With the murders and all, it's like right out of a horror movie or something.
So yeah, that's exactly what he sounded like, and he was saying that he was going to take a drive to Arkansas, and he said that he was going through Wisconsin, and he says, if you want, I could take you to Arkansas with, and you'll never come back again. And I said, yeah, sure, because I hated my adoptive parents, and I hated being with my adoptive parents, and I hated that my adoptive mother, is making me keep that job that I hate so much, and I wanted to run away and ditch all of them. So I knew that I wouldn't survive if I ran away, because I'd have no way of getting my insulin. But like in the back of my mind, I thought that, well, there is a chance I might survive if I run away to Arkansas, if I figure out a way to get insulin. But the chances of that were pretty low. Because as far as I know, homeless people cannot get insulin at all. As far as I know, homeless people can't get insulin at all. So he told me to meet him. I said, okay, so where do you want to pick me up from? Because I don't give out my address online. He told me that he can pick me. He asked me like what neighborhood I live in. I told him. He wanted to pick me up from the abandoned grocery store parking lot at 1 a.m. He told me to meet him there, and I actually recorded a video a couple days ago actually, of me at the abandoned grocery store parking lot. He said for me to be there at 1 a.m. and that he's going to be driving a black van, so look for a black van parked at the grocery store parking lot. And I said, okay, I'll meet you there then. And then we hung up and everything, and told me to meet him at 1 a.m. and that he was going to take me to Arkansas. And I thought about it, and I thought, Arkansas. I heard of that state before. It's a state down south. It's near Texas and Mississippi and Louisiana. And I thought to myself, Arkansas, that just sounds like a place where people go off to die at. No offense. No offense to anyone from Arkansas who's watching this video. But I thought to myself, that just sounds like a state where people go off to die at, because the way it's pronounced, it's my autism mind. Arkansas, like a hacksaw that you use to saw people up with. And that's just my messed up autism mind. So I decided it was my last, well, what I thought was going to be my last night at my adoptive parents' house. So I decided, because I was going to meet him at 1 a.m. that night, so I decided to go on Google search and read about some gloomy stuff that happened in Arkansas. And apparently I was right. A lot of messed up stuff happened in Arkansas. And here's what I found. I found this. So I forgot to mention this woman in my last episode of Joe Winko Talk. She's a girl who was killed in Arkansas in 1991. They claim that her name was Mercedes, but she's actually a Jane Doe. They don't think her real name wasn't actually Mercedes. That was a fake name she was using. And she was shot in her motel room in Arkansas by her pimp because she was a prostitute and who was hitchhiking through the South. And before she died, she was a prostitute who was hitchhiking through the South. And she was shot and killed by her pimp in a motel room in 1991. They don't know who she is. Here's a closer look at her picture. That was her. That's a picture of her while she's alive, obviously. And this story got to me, and I thought it was really sad, and I felt really sorry for her. And I felt like me and her definitely had something in common, because she was homeless, and she was out there trying to survive. And just like I kind of am right now. Well, I'm not homeless now, but I'm trying to survive by posting these videos and looking for that father-son relationship. But she was also a prostitute, and I will say this, as much as I hate to admit it, but as you all know, I have no shame in my life at all. As much as I hate to admit it, if it wasn't for my diabetes and the fact that I would die from my diabetes if I ended up homeless, let's say if I didn't have diabetes and I was going to end up homeless, that's probably exactly what I would have became. That's exactly what I would have became. I would have became a prostitute just like her. But I have my diabetes, and I would never be able to make enough money to get insulin or a place to stay so I can get insulin. So I would end up dying if I became homeless. But if I became a prostitute, I'm not sure how far I'd get with that, because I can't take it up the ass and I don't suck cock either, even if I was being paid for it. So I'd probably end up dying anyway, just not of no insulin. But I felt really sorry for her, and it was really sad. Really, it just goes to show you that some people, well, I don't know what to say about that, but I did feel sorry for her, and I felt like me and her had a lot in common. And then there was this girl. Her name was Morgan Nick. She went missing in Arkansas in June 1995. What happened was, this is just gonna a rundown of the story that happened. Here's a picture of her. So that's Morgan Nick. She went missing in 1995 when she was 6 years old, in June of 1995. And what happened was, her and her family were at a baseball game in Arkansas, and it was at night, late at night, and her and her friends were running around collecting fireflies and everything. And what ended up happening was, they were at like a sand dune collecting fireflies, like near the baseball field. They came back to the baseball field to empty the sand out of their shoes, and they said that they saw a creepy guy driving a red truck nearby, and they said that they saw him walking up to Morgan and talking to her, because she was alone at her mother's car, emptying the sand out of her shoes. But the other kids who she was playing with, they were away from her, and they said that they all looked away. But when they looked back, Morgan was gone, and so was the creepy guy who was talking to her, and so was the red truck, and they think that he kidnapped her. And it happened in June 1995, and to this day, January 2017, they have no idea where she went or what happened to her. And that was another gloomy story I read about that happened in Arkansas the night before I was going to disappear. And it was kind of eerie because she went missing in June 1995, and this was all happening in June 2015, so exactly 20 years afterwards. Also, I was born in 1995, the same year she went missing, and she also went missing in Arkansas too, the same exact place that I was going to go off at to die at. And it was really morbid. And last I found this. This was a woman who was murdered in Arkansas. She was a Jane Doe. They don't know who she was, but they found her dead in a creek bed, and she was shot to death. and what happened to her was she was sexually assaulted, and she was shot to death, and she was beaten and shot to death, and they found her dead in a creek bed. She was naked from the waist down, and she was wearing a red sweater with gold stars. Here's a picture of it. That's the sweater she was found wearing. They don't have a facial reconstruction of her, so I'm assuming because of that, she was probably, and I'm assuming since they don't have a facial reconstruction of her, she was probably like beaten up so bad or shot in the face, and it's really sad to think about that. And she was an African American female with curly black hair that's 2 inches in length. That's what she was described on the website. This was really sad, and this is gonna be really morbid. But I didn't know what she looked like at all, so I imagined her as Sasha from The Walking Dead, because they said she was an African American female, and Sasha is one of my favorite characters from The Walking Dead, and that was really gloomy, and I felt really sorry for her. And I actually teared up when I read about her too. And there's something very haunting about that sweater she was wearing, the red sweater with gold stars, and she was killed in February of 1994, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in February, and that was the very same thing that would have killed me if I ran away. I would have died of my diabetes. And also, she was wearing a red sweater. And for those of you guys who don't know, I love the color red. And all my clothes are red. Literally, all my clothes are red. And, well, except for my yellow sweater. And for my pink stuff, too. But that's still a shade of red. And she was found dead wearing a red sweater with gold stars. And the stars on her sweater, it also reminded me of Amy from The Walking Dead, because when Amy died on The Walking Dead, she was wearing a shirt with black stars on it. And it was just really haunting seeing that picture of her sweater, the sweater she was wearing on the mannequin, and knowing that was the sweater she was found dead in. And I felt really sorry for her. Very sorry for her, actually. Because, I don't know. It was depressing. And another thing was, my adoptive parents, they always watch crime documentaries, and my adoptive mother, she always used to tell me, that's how you're going to end up one day. You're going to get hunted down and murdered, just like the people from the crime documentaries. Back when I was 4 or 5 and 6 years old, she'd always would tell me that, and I couldn't stand it. But, like, because in the crime documentaries, like, it was all reenactment, but they'd show the people laying there dead in a pool of blood, and that always freaked me out. And I always would imagine myself laying there dead in a pool of blood. That just shows you how fucked up my adoptive mother really was. I literally cannot stand that woman. Seriously. And another thing was, I was thinking, because I read about Jane Does and John Does all the time, I thought if I would have died in Arkansas, because I don't know anyone who lives in Arkansas. I don't know anyone who lives in Arkansas. Well, I have one friend who lives in Arkansas, just one. But besides her, I have no other friends who live in Arkansas. And I thought if I would have ran away there and died, I would have became a John Doe, and then I would be buried in a pauper's graveyard. And I always imagined that I would be buried in the pauper's graveyard right next to the Jane Doe who was wearing the red sweater with gold stars. I know, it sounds really creepy. I mean, trust me, if there would have been a way I could have ran away to Arkansas and survived and took my computer with me and was able to make my videos for YouTube, I definitely would have. But there was no way I could. Well, not just Arkansas, anywhere else, except for Wisconsin, because I hate the state and I want to leave. So, here's what ended up happening. After I waited some time. It was really gloomy being at my house that night because I thought, okay, this is my last night here. Well, it's not my house, it's my adoptive parents' house. Then at 1 a.m., I got up and I left. And what I was wearing was I had my bandana on the exact same way it is right now, tied up in the pointed shape. Well, that's always how I wear it. And I had on a pair of red shorts and some shoes. And I was carrying my cell phone with me. And I was walking to. I didn't bring anything else with me because I was under the impression, like, okay, if I go to Arkansas, I'm not going to last very long, so I don't need to bring anything with me. And also, even if I would have brought insulin with me, I would have ran out anyway, and then I would have died anyway, so I just didn't bring it with me. So while I was walking to Arkansas, it was late at night, I was walking down the street, and there were so many stars in the sky. There were so many stars in the sky. I never seen so many stars in the sky. And I was looking up at the stars in the sky, and I was thinking of the Jane Doe who was found dead in Arkansas in February of 1994. She was wearing a red sweater with gold stars, and it made me think of her. And then another thing I thought of was, those are all the spirits of all the dead people you read about online. They're all waiting for you to go join them. I know that sounds really fucked up and really messed up and kind of disturbing, but that's exactly what I was thinking that night. I mean, I had no choice, really. And, I finally got to the abandoned grocery store parking lot, and it was pitch black out. I could barely see much. I was using my phone as a light. And then I remember he said that he was going to be in a black van. I kept walking away from the street because the way it's set up is like the street's here, the grocery store is here, and the parking lot is huge actually. And I was walking away from the street, and then I saw the black van, and the lights turned on, and I was like, I kind of muttered a prayer to God because at that point I was like, okay, this is really it. You're gonna run away. You're gonna leave forever. I didn't think I was gonna die right at that moment. I knew that I still had some time left, but I muttered to God. I said, God, I'm sorry, but this is it. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go off, leave forever, never see anyone again, and then I'm gonna be laying in a forest somewhere far away in Arkansas, dying, and then they're gonna find my body, bury me in a pauper's graveyard. And I said, I think you understand exactly why this is going on. And I said sorry to God and everything. As I was walking towards the van, this is where it gets weird. The headlights turn on, they shine right on me, and I'm just standing there, like paused for a quick second, and then I waved at him a bit, like this, and this guy looked me right in the eye. The guy in that van, and I think that was the guy who was going to pick me up. He looked me right in the eye. His eyes were wide open. This is what I didn't even see what he looked like. I just saw his eyes. That's all I remember are his eyes. He had this terrified look on his face. Like these terrified eyes. They were so wide open, and he looked horrified, and I was like, what? Why is he looking at me like that? And then then all of a sudden, he revved up his car. I heard his engine rev up, and I'm like, what the fuck is he gonna do? Is he gonna run me over? What the hell? He speeds up. He zooms around me like this. Then he zooms onto the road by the abandoned parking lot, and he drives away like at full force, like really fast. And I was like, what the hell? Are you serious? And I was so pissed off because that was my only chance to leave my adoptive family forever, and he just drives away and leaves me there. And I was so angry, and I was so pissed off, because I had to work the next morning, and I thought I wasn't going to be there, but now I had to be there, because he drove off and left, and I was so furious. I had a miniature fit in that parking lot. I was slamming my foot down, and I was so angry, and I was shouting out at him. But it was 1 a.m. and it's a huge parking lot, so no one was going to hear me there. But I was so angry and so upset. And I walked home and everything, and I was so pissed off, and I kept wondering, why the fuck did he just drive off and leave me there? Because I thought he was going to take me away, and I thought I was going to leave Wisconsin forever, because I hate Wisconsin, and I do want to leave it. I still want to leave it to this day. And, but he just drove off and left. So, and I remember one person said, maybe it's because you didn't have any luggage with you and you thought you were going to rob him or kill him or something. No, because I didn't have any weapons on me. I was wearing shorts. I had no shirt on. Exactly the exact way I am in this video right now is the exact way I was when I was at that parking lot. Because it was summer, I had no shirt on, just had my bandana, my shorts, and my shoes, and I was carrying my cell phone. And I just walked up, and he just looked freaked out and drove off and left. You're afraid of a skinny guy wearing a red bandana? What the fuck? And, I thought about it for quite some time, why he drove off and left. This is what I was thinking. I think this is the reason why he drove off and left. I don't think he was right in the head. I think he was probably having he probably had like a random meltdown or something. Like he could have been schizophrenic, saw a scary hallucination, and then got freaked out when he saw me there for some reason, and then he drove off and left. I don't know why he did that. Why do you guys think he did that? Could you type it in the comments? But all I know is that I was just really angry because I really wanted to leave Wisconsin. I hated that job so much. However, I did end up quitting it eventually. And when my adoptive mother found out, it did not go good. And I explained all that in my necrophiliac story episode of Joe Winko Talk. I'll have a link or annotation here so you guys can watch it. And, yeah. But, there's also one more thing. Earlier today, I posted a video on YouTube. It was a music video I made of The Sims 2 for Cruel Summer by Bananarama. I heard this song a couple months ago, and after I heard it, and after I listened to the lyrics, I think this song reminds me of the time I tried to run away to Arkansas. And I have the song right here, and I'm going to play it for you guys right now. The lyrics and everything, it makes perfect sense. Okay. Let me start the song. It's from the 80s, obviously. Another thing I want to point out is well, it is an 80s song, so all 80s songs have this. That's why I love 80s songs so much. It has that ghostly vintage vibe to it, and I thought that was suitable too, since I was going to run away to Arkansas to die. Okay, let me play it now. Okay. Hot summer streets and the pavements are burning. I sit around. That's what they said. And, you know, that made me think of my retail job. That's what I would do. I'd sit around, and I never liked it. I didn't like being there, being bothered by customers and everything. And the pavements are burning, like really uncomfortable. That's what I felt when I was there. I felt very uncomfortable at work all the time. That's what makes sense. The pavements are burning. Okay, let me play the rest. Alright, trying to stay up and trying to stay positive while working, but it didn't really work for me very well. I think that's what... Oh yeah, the lyrics were trying to smile, but the air is so heavy and dry. That's what it meant to me about the retail job. Okay, then there's this. Okay. Strange voices are saying, what did they say? Things I cannot understand. It's too close for comfort. This heat has got right out of hand. That's what the lyrics they were singing. That sums up my job to a T, really. Because you have customers bugging me. I have my bosses telling me, oh, you gotta have the customers open up charge cards, and having to come in when they want me to, having to do what they want me to. I could not function right. That was stressful and that was overwhelming. I could not do it. And retail is really rough. Really, like, some people can do it fine. Some people, it's easy for some people, but not for me. I mean, and don't even get me started on fast food. Yeah, I tried that too, but hold on. So now the more of the song. Okay. Now, the course of the song, it's a cruel, cruel summer, leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel summer, now you're gone. That definitely sums up me running away to Arkansas, because that's what was going on. I was looking for a truck driver online to take me away from Wisconsin. Then what would happen is he would leave me in Arkansas and then drive off and leave. So he'd be leaving me there on my own, leaving me for dead, really. And I'd be left for dead, and then I would die. Hence, now you're gone part of that song. It's a cruel summer, now you're gone. Like, meaning that I'm dead. I know that's really morbid and really gloomy, but that's exactly what the song makes me think of, the time I ran away to Arkansas. Alright. Okay, that part of the song. The city is crowded, my friends are away, and I'm on my own. Now, like, the city is crowded. That makes me think of when all the customers were at the store I was working at, and I never liked working there. It's too stressful and too overwhelming. That's what it means by city is crowded. And I don't do well in large crowds of people. I like keeping to myself, really. And my friends are away. Well, my uncle Mario, you all know about him. He passed away a long time ago. I also had another friend who died of a meth overdose, and another friend who was murdered. I talked about my friend who was murdered. Didn't really talk about the one who died of the meth overdose, but that's what I meant by friends are away. That's how I perceived it when I first heard this song. My friends are away, they're dead, and I'm on my own, because I really felt like I was on my own. I was on my own. Okay, it's too hard to handle, so I gotta get up and go. That job was too stressful. It's too stressful for me to hold a job. So it's too hard to handle, so I gotta get up and go. Which means I post the ad online, look for a truck driver to run away with, and then we run away together. Then I run away. Well, we don't run away together. He takes me away, then he leaves me somewhere, and then he drives off. That's what I had in mind, really. It's all very gloomy, but that's what was going on. Sorry, I heard people talking in my apartment. Okay, so for the rest of the song, they basically just repeat the chorus. So there's something about the second chorus, though. They say, "It's a cruel summer, leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel summer, now you're gone. You're not the only one. You're not the only one." That's what they say in the song. It's a cruel summer, you're not the only one. That related to, yeah, that's about the time I ran away to Arkansas. That's what I was thinking. But the line, "You're not the only one," I thought of Morgan Nick. I thought of the prostitute woman who was killed in Arkansas in her motel room, and I thought of the woman wearing the red sweater with gold stars who was shot to death and raped and murdered. That's what it means. You're not the only. That's what it meant to me. You see where I'm going to on this? You're not the only one who died in Arkansas. That's really morbid and really gloomy, but that's what the song meant to me. So you're not the only one, and those are all the lyrics of the song. Like every single verse of lyrics I heard in that song makes me think of the time I almost ran away to Arkansas, and makes me think of what I was going through, and it's rough, really. That's why I made the music video for it. That was more of like vent art, as I like to call it, vent art. For those of you who don't know, right now I'm living in this apartment that my adoptive parents are paying the rent for because they didn't have the guts to throw me out to the streets yet. But they're gonna keep paying the lease because we have like a lease on the apartment, and they're not gonna stop paying it until it expires because they don't want their credit ruined. But yeah, that's how I'm here right now, really. And yeah, so. And right now, I'm trying to get on disability and trying to find a father-son relationship. And that's what I was posting all the videos about earlier. And yeah, that's it, really. So that was a really gloomy episode of Joe Winko Talk. I am trying to make sure that does not happen. So don't ever, if I do end up dying out on the streets of no insulin, do not ever say that it was my fault. And do not ever say, "Oh, Joe didn't do anything to save himself at all," because that is a fucking lie. Just letting you all know. And I'll keep trying till the end. So, that's it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like my fan page on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And don't forget to watch my music video I made, Cruel Summer, Arkansas. That's what it's called. I'll have a link or an annotation to it somewhere on this video, so you guys can just click it and watch it. So that's it. Peace out, people.